influencer marketing has been used more by brands with like celebrities or people that are well known that already have the audience. And then you kind of see it move into today, which has been more like niche, relatable, like regular people, if you will, influencing people's purchasing decisions.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Influence Factor by the Influencer Marketing Factory. Today with me we have Marcella and Emily joining me. Hello.
Hi.
Hi guys.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome, it's gonna be fun.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Fantastic. So today, in this new episode, we want just to talk about the state of influencer marketing, right? It's been around for, I'd say, maybe 10 years as a thing. Before it was called, buzz marketing, word of mouth marketing. It changed in many, many ways, right? And before back in the days, we only had Instagram, right? And now after that, YouTube, of course, it was mostly for content creators. But nowadays you have also more like, influencers on the platform. And then, of course, TikTok, right? More than 3 years ago, got in the game, revolutionized everything that we know about short form videos. And now they're competing, right? So pricings are going, they're increasing day by day. And there is just a different approach, right? When it comes to influencer marketing. I'd say that before, I've been doing this for a while now. And before it was mostly, this is a nice face on a good Instagram, right, account with 1 million followers, and that's mostly it. But nowadays you want to see other metrics, you want to show ROI, right, and so on. And finally, I would say that influencer marketing has become a channel, like a serious channel. Companies have been shifting budget from billboards, TV, radio, and so on, and they're putting those money actually into influencer marketing. And finally, it's treated as any other branch of marketing. So if you put $1, you want to know how much dollars can you get out as an outcome, right? So I'm happy to see that finally brands are understanding that, and agencies like us are still educating clients, right, in what to do. There are still a lot of buzzwords and so on, but I would like to know, even just before getting more in depth, how did you see, in your opinion, influencer marketing changing? Again, from, I don't want to say 10 years ago, that's a long time, right, for influencer, but like from four years ago. Marcella, maybe we start with you. Like, how did you see that changing on a daily basis?
I think influencer marketing has changed drastically, like even from 2 years ago, imagine 4 years ago. I think rising of influencer at first was seen as something not that serious and not that, maybe long term. But now I can definitely see both from brand's perspective, but also audience perspective, the way we see and approach influencers. More and more brands are considering influencer marketing as part of their marketing funnel and putting more and more budgets on it. From the audience perspective, I feel like was at first something strange. We're doing something like, very different, but now people wanting to become influencer as their full-time job or content creators. Emily, what do you think?
Yeah, you come from a different background. So what about you?
Yeah, so I come from a different background. So I've been in marketing for a really long time, and I've seen influencer marketing work from brands 10 years ago, but more specifically over the last like 4 or 5 years, influencer marketing has been used more by brands with like celebrities or people that are well known that already have the audience. And then you kind of see it move into today, which has been more like niche, relatable, like regular people, if you will, influencing people's purchasing decisions. And it's been so drastic that now brands are using so much of their budget to put into influencer marketing. And it's just grown and become so impactful more than it was just utilizing a celebrity or, the Coca-Cola campaign with Santa Claus. Like, it's come a long way.
Absolutely. No, yeah, as you said, things changed. Before you wanted to have someone, in my opinion, before, back in the days, it was someone that either was on TV and then open an Instagram account, right? And so it was like, okay, I already tried this person. It's just on a different medium, right? But then, as now both of you said, things changed because every person, every someone without really a following was able to get in a following, on a specific niche, on a geolocation, whatever, and then we're able actually to create an audience, a community, and start communicating with them. And social media also, I mean, influencer marketing open to bilateral communication, right? Before, TV was like, I am the actor, I talk in front of you, and you see me as a god, right? Someone that is gonna be on the red carpet, I spend my summers on a yacht, and yeah, I look at you as aspirational, but I don't have anything in common with you. Then content creators, right, came along, and especially this is what I say all the time, especially during the pandemic and on TikTok, all these celebrities were like, oh, we're on the same boat, right? But what I say all the time is that their boat was a yacht, right? And the boat for someone living in Manhattan in a studio was actually a boat sinking, right? So whenever you were able to see someone else that had your same issues and problem, you have that peer-to-peer type of relationship, right? And that's why influencers, they are able to influence the others, right? Because they are relatable, right? A part of the authenticity is another big word, like a buzzword used lately, right? And it's a bit borderline. But I think that being relatable is even more important than the authenticity itself, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, like, this is also like one thing that is important. But also would like to also clarify something, and I would like to know also what you think about this. Lately, certain social media are like, oh, we don't say that they are influencers anymore because there is a connotation sometimes that you are just someone that has not a real job, right? And so you're a content creator. And even if I love the terminology like here around the content creation, right? I have the opinion that you can create content but be no one for people, right? You really cannot influence the others. And then you can be an influencer that create content and also able to influence them. Just make you an example, and please let me know what you think about that. I am a big foodie. I love cooking, and I follow pages, right, of people that make food. There are two ways, right, to do that. You can become an influencer that is all the time with your face there cooking with a certain style, with an intro, with an outro, right? You have a format. And then if tomorrow, right, you are trying to sell me things, I can buy them. For example, binging with Babish, I think that is the name, right? I hope that is the right name. I don't know if you know the guy, but he makes like all the time food from TV show, cartoons, and so on. And now he made like a collection of like a new series of like knives and pots and so on. And I really like the guy, so I could potentially like buy from the guy. But if instead I go on a Instagram page or a TikTok page of someone that only posts food, this the food could be fantastic, but I don't know who is behind the camera. So in my opinion, there is a content creation because you're amazing in creating that content. But if tomorrow, for the first time after many posts, you try to sell me something, I most probably won't do that because I can associate your face with someone that I trust. So I think that they are using both as is the same thing. But an influencer create content can influence the others, while a content creator is, in my opinion, is just someone that you see the content, but you then not necessarily like trust, as it happens many times on TikTok, right? You scroll, you see many videos, but what happened at VidCon? Some people were there and no one was there to meet with them, right? Because they are just one of the many on the For You page. So what do you think on that? Should we use them in the same way, or it's time now because it's 2022, influencer marketing has been there for a while, that we should finally separate the terms?
Completely agree with you. I mean, I think a content creator is very different than an influencer. I follow many, many different accounts. And one in particular that I can think of is she does DIY. She finds stuff on the side of the road, she fixes it up, and then she resells it on Facebook Marketplace, okay? She at first was a content creator. It was basically about the furniture. Now she's kind of migrated into more of an influencer where she shows her face, where previously she wasn't. So I would consider those two different things. I would consider her first phase of her social media presence being a content creator, now an influencer, because also she's bringing in products now that have no relatability to her DIY page, but she's grew that following to a point that brands are now reaching out to her and being like, hey, can you do this? But I think she's losing her authenticity of the page because it's not relatable to the audience that she did, conjure up. So I think I agree with you. I think that's two separate, words, two separate people, two separate individuals.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Marcella?
I can see content creators being used more for ads. For example, if a brand has to, do a specific ads on something like the one you see not just ad like an influencer paid partnership, so in partnership with, but just an ad like you see when you scroll on Instagram or on TikTok or on YouTube. I feel like content creators can be used more for this part of, the marketing, and then influencers should be really elevated when it comes to engagement and community and other things like that, because content creators doesn't mean, like you said, that are influencers, and influencers are also content creators, but content creators doesn't necessarily share. I feel like influencers share more of their lives in depth and other things that could, of course, be relatable to people. So that's what makes them also content creators and influencers, but a content creator is not necessarily an influencer. When we were talking about how influencer marketing changed, I feel like also social media platforms played a huge role in this, because now we have more platforms are focusing on discoverability other than people like you just follow. So Instagram pushes you with new profiles, like recommended profiles, once you open the app, so you can find more people, more influencers, more content creators, more things you can relate on. But that doesn't mean necessarily that you will then buy or will be influenced by the person.
That's also what I also want to discuss, like how the different like platforms, so some people, they still see them as similar, right? Like even if you, I feel that if you are not in the industry, sometimes you might see that you read articles about, like, for example, YouTube Shorts is now doing 2 billion of views, yada yada, and so it's the new competitor. But it's important whenever you do influencer marketing to understand that different medium, it means different audience, different demographics, different ways to do things. For example, as you know, Marcel, you were saying, and this is something I've been saying for a long time now. Instagram started as a network, based, right, medium, right? So you start following your friends, and that was it. That was a typical funnel. You have 1 million of people that follow you, maybe 4% see your posts, right? And then TikTok, right? That is also the same for you. YouTube is a bit of a mix, right? Sometimes you follow someone because you like them, but also because of discoverability. Because YouTube is the second search engine after Google, right? And so it's mostly sort of like pull marketing. You pull by yourself, and you look for things. And then when you subscribe to a channel, you click on a notification and you get the push, right? So it's a good mix. While TikTok made a sort of revolution, apart from the algorithm itself, it was and it still is, in my opinion, it's interest-based medium, right? So you mostly follow things or you watch things, right? So I follow, let's say, sports and food and whatever, and I get more of that. And so the discoverability is the number one focus, and it's what I call the opposite funnel, right? It's the reverse funnel. From one person, you can get potentially to 10 million, right? And that is what really gave the opportunity to many people be like, Instagram is not giving me anymore the possibility to be in front of people, while TikTok, even just starting, I can actually, get under the spotlight. And so what happened in the past 2 years, TikTok was growing a lot, and then YouTube Shorts came along and Instagram Reels, try with that. And everyone not everyone, but many people still seeing that as, okay, they are vertical, short form videos, pretty the same. Even though actually, especially if you're in the industry, you want to do influencer marketing, so different.
I wanted just to talk about this new trend. I don't know if you saw that. The trend, he's a 10, but he's a 6. But so this trend was initiated by two girls, a 23-year-old named Leah Woods and her sister Mary. They did this first video in the car. It got so viral, and it has more than 230 million views on the hashtag. The interesting thing is that, first of all, they did not have recognition about this trend. So not many people know that they started it. So I feel like something we can talk about also, it's how, creators have also a little bit of trouble to having recognition for trends and maybe things they started, because they get so viral on TikTok, on YouTube, and then Instagram, because the platform itself, it makes also to go viral, to make you go viral, but then you don't know where it's from. And the interesting things about that is they are trying to monetize this trend right away. So they launched a website and they are designing a card game in hopes, of course, to capitalize on For You page success. So if you go on the website, there's just like 2 strings where you can put here's a 10 and so suggestions for the cards, like the meme cards. And yeah, so I just wanted to tell you this super interesting viral moment. This is the perfect example that even if you're not an influencer, but you have something like super trending or super viral, you can still monetize. So for content creators, maybe if you're not an influencer, but you can be backstage, doing those things, even if you're not an influencer. So maybe you don't get paid just to post about, that brand. What do you guys think? How do you see that?
That's also what I also want to discuss with you about the speed of things online nowadays, with influencer marketing, right? How a trends, like when you were saying about trends and can you recognize them? Comes to mind all the different dances, right, that happen there. And, starting from, for example, the maybe certain communities, right, that were not recognized at the beginning, right, the Black communities that were doing certain dances, then, I remember that app, it started, on something else, I cannot remember now the name, Marcella, maybe you remember, it was like this app for dances and was then buy out, I think, and then those dances were, becoming popular on TikTok, mostly to Charlie D'Amelio and other, people there, so there was some chaos there. So yeah, for content creators have to be fast enough to get on your own trend and maybe monetize it. But it's also the same about also what I'm feeling now for companies. I feel that sometimes still certain brands are trying to jump on everything and they can actually backlash, right? So also I wanted to also to discuss with you, how do you do influencer marketing nowadays, right? You can be the silly account there, even though maybe because I'm a millennial, I'm aging up now, and so maybe I'm feeling that sometimes it's not appropriate to do things just because, and I'm just feeling that sometimes certain brands, they want to win Gen Z over, and they just forget that actually there may be their loyal customers maybe are older people that want to buy their products, right? And so sometimes I still feel that the influencer marketing is becoming these things where you have to be fast all the time, but how much of your brand integrity and brand values are going to stay there? Or do you want just to quickly change, right? Just for your fame, for that hashtag challenge, whatever, and then you're going to ruin potentially years of sedimentation of your brand. So I wanted also to discuss with you on that. Again, like things changed. Before you had to go through 10 different, proposal approvals, before going live. What about this hashtag? What about now? Certain brands, they go live in the same seconds, and sometimes they can also get back, right, because it's not appropriate. I remember I went listening to the speech from the Duolingo social media manager, right, and they said that she has some troubles because sometimes she did things that were a bit too borderline, let's say like that, But Duolingo is known for that, right, so it's okay. What about other brands that want to do influencer marketing and maybe don't really understand that? How can also maybe they can protect themselves, or do you think that you should just be on any trends just because, or depending on the things? I am personally not like just wait for a second, breathe in, breathe out, and then maybe jump on that. But Emily, again, you come from different backgrounds. How do you feel on that? How do you see influencer marketing changing from before to now, where again sometimes you feel the almost peer pressure, right, from other companies that to be the cool kids in school, right? How do you not become just one of the many? How do you still be yourself, but also playing cool with new generations?
Yeah, so I definitely trends move so quickly these days, within hours. So, and like you said, brands have so many approval processes and steps within. And sometimes you see brands that are not, they're, posting in 20 minutes, a comment or a video or, a static image, whatever. But I really think that brands need to stay true and really strategize on each platform what their tone is going to be and how they're going to come off their perception. Because if they really don't stay true to that brand and they just try and be the cool kids in the class, I think they're really going to lose who they are as a brand and their integrity. And that's everything to a brand. If you are, I think, Chick-fil-A, I think they do it really well. I think they have strategically placed themselves on platforms that are, beneficial and impactful for them, but they don't necessarily get involved in TikTok where they might not have a plan. I think you need to plan and put in the focus to make a like brand tone, voice, everything. And then once you have that down, some brands do for TikTok, and they have the capability to post within 20 minutes. Like they already have this connection and relatability with the audience on TikTok that they already have that going for them. Brands that are trying to just jump into it, on a whim, it's, in my opinion, a big mistake. I think that you really need to have like I said, a plan in place and strategize on what that campaign or what you want your brand to come off as. And I think I see a lot of brands doing well and a lot of brands, like you said, having backlash for things that it's like, not even brands, but also individual backlashes. Like you see nurses posting stuff and they're getting backlash. It's just, it's a very open game, and you got to play the game right. If you don't, there's detrimental consequences, I think, to every brand and individual.
I was just thinking that when I see ads or collaboration between influencers and brands, of course I always check the comments, and most of the time when brands give the influencer the freedom to not do what they want, not say how they want, but each influencer is different. I feel like at the beginning of influencer marketing, the way of doing partnerships and collaboration was very standard, was very like everything was the same, and you can tell right away when it's an ad or it's just, oh, she's getting paid to do that. She's like reading a script and that's it. But I feel like now brands are really starting to understand that if they want to have a good ROI, a good partnership, a successful campaign, you also have to have, as you said, Emily, yes, a plan, yes, a strategy, but also taking consideration that each influencer is different and they know their follower better than the brand, for sure. So if you want to be that successful, you can partnership with the biggest influencers in the game, and not giving them the freedom to be relatable in their own way, to do the ads in their own way, of course, following the guidelines. But the brand is really trying to win in influencer marketing. I think something crucial is, giving the influencer the freedom also to kind of take on the partnership and put really, not just their names and their face, but also their personality, their way of speaking and things like that. Especially when it comes to Gen Z, they don't care if you don't cast or if you have a guideline or if you have a script.
Yeah, to clarify, I feel like, 100%. But when I say plan, I mean plan and execute with an influencer that's going to be organic, and that community matches what that brand is the story they're trying to share. So I 100% agree. It needs to be natural, organic, and that partnership with that influencer they need to have the understanding and the intention that brand is trying to put out there. And I definitely don't think an influencer just going out there and being like, hey, this is my product, this is my service, whatever, I think you should get it. I definitely don't think that's going to work, but I just wanted to clarify for what I said. I think that strategically partnering with influencers for the brand's image needs to be intentional.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. For sure.
And also because we have been seeing also influencer marketing activities changing from a one-shot activity, right? Back in the days, it was like, hey, I have $5,000, $10,000, let's test it out. And, sometimes maybe brands, they were like, oh, I'm going to do it in-house, and then if you don't know what you're doing, you can really waste your money, right? And so then, you can use platforms, you can use like an agencies like us that help you doing everything. And I think that now even more than, ever, actually, you really need someone that understands things, because there is so much going on. Everyone is called themselves like, I am an influencer, but you need that to look at data, quality of, posts and so on. And also something that I would like to say is that before it was okay in a way to maybe find someone that was posting on social media that was maybe, a bit slow replying to you, was not really that much of a professional. It was still okay, it was still getting there. nowadays I think that everyone has to step up the game. You cannot anymore partner up with influencers that are not, they don't have like an agenda, an editorial calendar type of things where you know what to post, you have to be on point, you have to reply to things. Some influencers have their agents, they have an assistant, and I just think that you as a company, you have to understand that you should, like, both parties should treat each other as, serious players, right? So you have to respect the company that is paying you, and you as a company, you have to respect also the timeline of the influencers. Still, I feel that some companies arrive like 2 days before the campaign, like they want to launch something and be like, oh, we have this idea. They don't realize that influencers, they take time to negotiate the prices. If you have shipped a product with the supply chain problems that we have now, maybe it's going to take more time. You have to understand, is the influencer already posting about something else in the same period? What about exclusivity? Like, do they sign a contract with something that... So overall, without getting technicality, things changed. And now influencer marketing is really a serious place where to be. Some influencers, they created their own LLC company, right? For protection, they can write off expenses, they can hire people. Think about YouTubers. Before, as a YouTuber, you were mostly doing everything by yourself. Now, maybe you have an editor. You have someone that can help us you cut the videos. You have maybe someone that helps you do brand deals and so on, right? So I think that also maybe certain companies still, they see a bunch of kids, playing around, and some of them, they still do everything by themselves. But others are actually solopreneurs, there are micro companies, right? And I think that is important to understand how things are changing. And just a couple of days ago, some journalists were asking me, like, so what is happening with influencer marketing? Is this dying off? It is like, no, it's just changing. It's evolving. Has been, I think, never been so much money like now in influencer marketing. If you look some of the data, I think that Marcella, you also, found for today's episode. I was reading that 75% of marketers want to, they are willing to invest into influencer marketing this year, right? And I think that almost 70% they want to increase their current budgets, right? So the money is going there. Influencers are making more. Some of them, they are realizing that they can make a living. I'm not talking about making 6 digits, and people mostly based in LA, they do 7 digits a year. So it's a serious thing. It is working. It's bringing results. What's that?
I said a month, not 7 digits a month.
A month. Some people, I saw some. It's crazy. I mean, like between especially people that, for example, also influencer marketing. Again, like I know that it's more on the creator economy side, but think about how Patreon, OnlyFans, they allowed content creators. And so I'm not talking about the influencers necessarily, but content creators to continue creating content thanks to a sort of monthly recurring, ways to and so that is quite interesting to me. So yeah, I mean, like overall, again, influencer marketing is evolving, I think, in the right way. And also when it comes to metrics, brands are start asking, I think it's in a good way, asking for more proof of concept. What about the business model here? Can I get my ROI by this number? And that's, why also we as agencies, we have to forecast, right? And we have to be able to look at historical data and treat, again, as I mentioned before, treat influencer marketing as any other influencer marketing, like, channels that you do. I put this money in, these are the metrics, this is what I can get out. And even more in time, I think it's going to be more and more a combination between the creativity part, right? So the quality of the work and everything, but also the quantitative side, right? Okay, I put this money in, I get this, type of money out. And also, like, I'd say that, as I was mentioning before, and let me know also what you think about these. I think that before it was mostly like one time, right? Activities, you find someone, you test it out, maybe it doesn't work. Now what I'm seeing more is that if you like an influencer, maybe you say, let's do a 6 months collaboration, for example. Or also, we already discussed this in another episode about the creator economy, and also the previous one about co-branding. Influencer marketing is not just anymore promote this. It's like, can you help you being the influencer, like they know the audience? Can you help us co-create or make changes in our product? So I want to hear from you on that. How do you see also changing on that from like being merely promoters to becoming someone that is actually more active in the process of the marketing side?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that if you try one marketing channel, just like any other marketing channel, influencer marketing one time, the frequency isn't there. I think the brands that stay with one influencer for 6 months, a year, and continuously create content with them and work with them on different campaigns is going to be more valuable and impactful than just one campaign. And it has become such a channel, like everything else, like you said, Alessandra. It's now to a point that you can measure the analytics and make recommendations on campaigns because there actually is historical data, whereas 2 years ago there wasn't this multitude of data that you could actually have. So I really think that with the stat as well, you said more than 75% of brand marketers intend to dedicate a budget to influencer marketing. And if they're relying to do that, then they need those data and metrics to make decisions just like any other marketing channel. Marcella?
Yeah, I totally agree. I was just gonna say, I see more and more brands doing partnership with influencers, not just, as you said, Alessandro, one shot. So you just not do a campaign, but brands try to find more and more strategic long-term influencers. In mind that also if you find influencers that really resonate with your brand, they can really be some sort of, it's a pretty old term, but the brand ambassador type. I feel like we will see more and more influencer becoming a brand ambassador, but long term, and in a way we didn't see it yet. I feel like this, as you said, Alessandro, the solopreneur, the fact that having my own company as an influencer, my own businesses, also then have an impact on how I partnership with brands, because I'm not just an influencer doing videos. I'm actually someone that can strategically help you. And also, if we're talking awareness, if we're talking shopping, if we're talking, I don't know, discoverability, it depends on influencer, of course, you partnership with. But I feel like it's a trend we will see more and more, but not as we saw it up until now.
Especially because we have so many, content creators and influencers. After a while, I am by the opinion that some of these, they realize that it's not that easy. The competition, many of them will be not consistent. So we're now reaching ourselves like peak, and only the best ones are going to beat theirs to stay. And that's, I also think that, about being recognized and, be associated with a brand in time, we're going to have more the old brand ambassador type of idea, because again, it's okay to change, but again, if you cannot really be associated with a specific influencers or content creators, after a while, it's going to be like, okay, we have a bunch of people that do one activation. And also, I feel just that if you do one activation, you're sort of no mercenary here, right? You do one thing for one day, another thing for another day there. And also, I think that in time, people, and that's already happening, they don't want to see that you're posting every single day something promotional about everything, right? You want also to be someone that you can trust and be like, I really like this product, I use it every day, and I'm going to promote it for 6 months. In that case, you really feel like, okay, this person is actually using this product. After a while, I think that, gone are the days that you're like, hey, I love these things, and you can clearly see that these influencers never use the product. And then tomorrow they're going to promote something either similar, a competitor, or something that is really not in their DNA. So I just think that moment of trying to get every brand deals in, it's almost over. And now we're getting back to having consistency, having something that is stable, right matching between DNAs, between the influencers and the company, and so on. So again, I just think that it's evolving in the best direction possible, and it's just adapting what people want to see.
There's going to be for brands, a community of people, of influencers, of creative content or content creators, and ambassadors and affiliates, and all those people have a different following, a different perspective, a different voice, and they're all going to combine for one brand. And it's going to be a little bit more fluid, organic, because it's a wide community of people, not just this one person promoting this brand, service, company, whatever. But I think that that's kind of where we're moving. And marketing evolves every single day, and we know that, but I don't think influencer marketing is going to evolve to a point where it's not viable. Like I said, influencer marketing has been around since decades. It's just evolved. Now it's digital and it's going to stay digital and it's going to just evolve from there.
The other day, I listened to a Victoria Paris interview. She's an influencer from New York. She's known mainly in the influencer space, not only because, of course, of her video, but also because she was able to have a really large following in a span of 4 months, 6 months on TikTok, like 1 million followers. And the things she said, I find it really interesting because she said at the beginning, I didn't get any brand deals because I was focusing on building my community and my following. Once I got that, I then started to do brand deals. Because of course, if you just start to do brand deals, most probably they will not be successful because maybe, I mean, depends on the community you have. But if you just do brand deals to do brand deals, it's not gonna, you know, if you, like with everything in life, if you just do it for the money, it's not gonna work. So I feel like it's really interesting that she said that, because if you work one time with a brand and you have a really successful campaign, most probably that brand will want to work with you again. And the influencer will want to do the same. So I feel like more and more we will see partnerships that make sense and not like you scroll and say, oh, another ad, what's new? And it's gonna be more thoughtful, more authentic, more relatable. I don't know if it's just because of Gen Z and their approach on cultural matters and also like how to consume content. But yeah, I feel like it is gonna be like that. I don't know if you know that, but on TikTok, like lately, the favorite buzzword is content creator. It's the new virtual assistant trend. So like a year ago or like half year ago, everyone wanted to do like social media manager and virtual assistant and taking care of those things. But now they see how many brands are jumping on content creation, influencer marketing. They're starting to get their TikTok in, because at first it was strange to have a TikTok. Oh my God, you're one of the first brands. Now we see more and more brands and they're searching for people to do content creation. And there's so many people that wants to jump on that. But I mean, content creation, it's not easy.
It's not easy, and also it's a different thing. Like if you create a user-generated content, okay? So this is the thing, and then I think that we're gonna also start wrapping up, right? But I think is that if we think about why, like sometimes people stop thinking about the why, I think, in marketing, okay? And the such psychological and sociological factors are number one when it comes to marketing, okay? Like you do things because there is a reason, not just because it's even if you don't think about it, your brain is still connecting things together. And if you think about the why am I buying this from this influencer, it is usually because I trust this person, I like their content. Sometimes, as we asked it in our survey, right, about the creator economy, sometimes you only want to help them, and so maybe you click on their links, you buy from them because you want to give them fees, affiliation fees, whatever. Okay, there are different reasons. But usually you do that because you trust this person, you like the person, you like that they're making content for you all the single time, and so you want to help them, right? Securing their sort of monthly revenues in. If instead you see a user-generated content from someone that you don't really know on the page of a TikTok account, it still can work because you can see that it's not the management doing that. So it still can work for that. But will you buy? Not necessarily, because you don't know this person that is on a page that you follow mostly because it's maybe corporate. So all the time you have to think about yes, the content itself is good, but why am I buying and why I'm not buying? And it's the same, in my opinion, whenever you boost campaigns. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, because you might buy from this person only because you trust this person. And it's like the same with artists. Sometimes, a painting is just more valuable because it comes from a person that you know. If the same painting was user-generated, right, but from someone that you don't know, it could be $1 up, and the other one, because of the person that you know and has a reputation, is $10 million. The same is also for, content creation. If someone that you know create a content and it goes to a corporate page, it can have an actual double effect. But if these are no one, it can still work for the content, but not necessarily to convert the people, right, in buying something. Because again, you don't trust this person, you don't know who they are. Before we go on the closing things here, anything, Emily, on that? Do you want to add anything on what Marcella said?
Yeah, so I think that there is so much opportunity for brands and individuals in the space on the 3 different platforms that we spoke about today. But really, it comes down to, are you relatable? Are you authentic? Is the brand partnering with the right people? Is it the right intention? And if all those things you put in the focus and strategize, and just to go back to the data point, with so many players getting involved in brands, if you don't know how to do it, get someone that does it well. Because if you get in and do it wrong, it's going to hurt your reputation and it's going to hurt the brand. So if you plan to do it correctly. It can be hugely valuable to any brand and company and individual creator or influencer. So I think all in all, like, it's here to stay and it will be evolving for the next decades to come.
Absolutely. Maybe it's going to change, terminology. It's going to change, things. Again, it's been there, actually not from decades, in my opinion. It's been there for like ages, okay? Because at the end of the day, maybe it was your friends, your family, someone that was like politics, like you are always influenced, right, by that from Roman Empire, right? So it's definitely staying here. It's just changing, and yes, I do agree. As a brand, you should educate yourself. You don't know how to do, get some support on those things. The worst thing that you can do is to try a thing, waste money, and be like, oh, this is not working. Just because you were not able maybe to consider many factors in and out, organize something doesn't mean that it doesn't work, but you have to do it properly. And unfortunately, there is still sometimes, fraud. There are people that are getting the money and they disappear. That is still happening, unfortunately, but I think that is getting way better, than compared to before. So all in all, again, it's evolving, more money involved in that, shifting of budgets, more professionals as content creators and influencers becoming from merely, promoters to actually solopreneurs or small companies, and brands are educating themselves more. They're spending also more time. Nowadays, you have maybe a dedicated person that spends time on social media, while before it was like a waste of time only for kids, and now we have someone that is dedicated to be like, what is trending today? What are the products that are working the best? Can you look for new influencers? What about this? What about that? And so that is also showing that if you have a dedicated person, that means that you are treating that seriously, as in our opinion, right, it should be. Well, that's a wrap, I guess. We talk about a lot, right, about influencer marketing, what is happening. I'm super happy to see that is changing. And it is one of those things that you really have to be on a daily basis, right, understand what is happening. What I say all the time, similar to, that scene in Interstellar, one day in influencer marketing is like 7 years, right, in any other industries. So it's challenging for sure, but also I think it's exciting to see because it's so fast-paced that can give you like a lot of new ideas and a lot of success if you use it properly, right? So thank you, Emily, and thank you, Marcella, for joining me today. For anyone that is new, you can listen to our podcast on every place, right? We are on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon. We are on YouTube. You can watch our little clips on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels. I mean, we're talking about this and we should be there, right? So
Right.
would make sense for us not to be there. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you again for joining me, and see you in the next episode.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.